Okay, last video, here we go, quadratic formula. So we are going to be solving equations. You just watched a video from the Khan guy. It's a pretty good video. I wanted to write a couple things. You can pause this and write it down with me. So this is the form that it's got to be in. You notice that this is different because they had their 0 on the other side, and that's okay. I said it has to be in this form, and A, B, and C are just numbers. Okay, so that's just an example. This is the actual formula, and I'm going to go ahead and write right there is really just opposite. So what that's meaning, like, if B is a positive number, it's going to be negative right there. And if it's a negative number right there, it's going to be positive. Okay, so they put negative, but it's really just opposite. So I have an example written down, and we're going to work it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to label A, B, and C. First off, I don't see an A, so I know that it is an understood 1. So I'm going to say A equals 1. B goes with just the X, and so B equals 4. And C is just the number, and C equals 3. So I've labeled my 3 things. It's got to equal 0. Sometimes they may say, like, plus 3 equals 10. Well, you'd have to move that 10 over, okay? So I've got A, B, and C, and so I can go into my formula now. Because we're trying to solve for X. We say X equals opposite B. Well, opposite 4 is negative 4. Plus or minus square root B squared, so I have 4 squared, minus 4 times A, which is 1, times C, which is 3. And here's the kicker. It is all over 2A. And I'll write that down. Okay, it's all over it. Some people just want to do like this part. No, it's all of it. Okay, and so we've actually done the hard part. The hard part is setting it up, and now we can just solve it, okay? So it's kind of like the order of operations stuff. We just got to kind of filter it down. So X equals negative 4 plus or minus. Well, what's 4 squared? That is 16. What is negative 4 times 1? That's negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. All over. Oh, I didn't even sub in right here. This should have been 2 times 1 because A was 1. Oops. And 2 times 1 is 2. So now we're just still solving. So I get X equals negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 4 all over 2. You're going to have to pull from some information from way back when. The square root of 4 is 2. Okay, and so I want to pause right here for a second and talk about it. Sometimes we're going to get fractions as our answers, and that's okay. Very clearly, you see that this is not going to end up giving me a fraction as an answer, and so I'm not going to keep I'm going to keep going with it. Okay, if it was a fraction, like weird numbers that would not simplify, then that's when it's a fraction as our answer. It's okay. Also, the fact that there's always going to be 2 answers because our highest power in these equations is 2. So when I say that, I'm looking at this highest power right there is 2. That always tells you how many answers you're going to have. And this may not look like I have 2 answers, but I actually do because I have a plus and I have a minus. So I'm going to put down the phone right now for like 10 seconds and finish this out. So just hang on for like 10 seconds. Okay, here we go. So because it was not going to give me a weird fraction, I kept going and I showed you here's my 2 answers. And so my first one, I just say negative 4 plus 2 all over 2. And I simplify it out. And then the second one, I say X equals negative 4 minus 2. And I simplify it out. So I do have 2 answers, negative 1 and negative 3. You have to have both of them. If you have one and not the other, it's not okay. So here we go. This is the quadratic formula.